Greetings, Star Wars fan. Whether your first memory is of a Kenner action figure or a Hasbro action figure, my name is John Edward Lee, and I'm here with another universe-expanding books and toys. In fact, this is a special one. This is a Star Wars Day, May the 4th episode. I have recorded a couple versions of this, what I wanted to talk about, and they've just not been good. I did one right after I came back from London for Celebration 23, which is what I'm going to be talking about. And I didn't like it. I did one last night, and my system didn't like it. And when I looked at it, I was like really tired. So I figured I'm just fresh from home from work. Time to do that video. What this is not about my experience at Celebration 2023 in London, but what I got there, because I did do some shopping specifically for vintage figures. Some of what I got is Kenner, some of it is Palitoy. Kenner, as you'll know, is the American company that made it. In the UK, Palitoy got the molds and they made it. Separate company, similar product. So I did get a couple of things. Before I get into it, yes, Celebration was really cool. I had a lot of fun. I'm used to going in America, so it was nice to go to one in another country. Also, it was the first time in 25 years I'd been out of the country, so it was a great trip all around. There were things I would love to have taken with me, like books to get signed by authors, but traveling with books or buying books there and traveling back is a bad idea. They're too heavy. So I got some small things. So that's what I'm going to show you. You can see I got my vintage collection here. I don't have every figure, but I've got a good chunk of them. I would say about 70% of them. So I had some holes to fill. You'll see right here I've got the mini rigs that go all the way on these two shelves. I know you can't see that one, but they go all the way back. Mini rigs were tiny vehicles that sort of looked like they should have been in the movies, but weren't quite, like this little flying ship that looks like it's an AT-ST head. It wasn't in the movie, but it really looks like it could have been. That's what the mini rigs were. They were made after the movies were finished, the original trilogy, that is. I only had 2 more to go, and before I get into it, I don't consider the E-Web, tripod gun, or the Hoth satellite cannon mini rigs. They're not vehicles. Some people do, but I don't think Kenner actually thought of those as mini rigs. So I had 2 more to get, and I'm going to show them to you. The first one is this guy. And like I said, he has the feel of the movies. He looks like the Lambda-class shuttle Tidarium from Return of the Jedi, but this only has room for 1 figure. And of course, it does land just like that one does. And it's in pretty good condition. I was pretty happy with this purchase. The only other one that I hadn't had yet, also similarly from the same movie, Return of the Jedi, is the Skiff mini rig. This one's cool. Each one has a feature. This one's rudders move as the character moves in the little pod there. I really like this look. It's just nice to complete this collection too. I did get some figures while I was there. First off, I've never had a Yoda before, so I got my first Yoda. Of course, he doesn't come with a robe, lantern, no snakes, no belt, no nothing. But he looks really cool. I've never had one, like I said, and this will tide me over until I spend the $90 to $150 to get a complete one, which I may never do. So let's put him with R2 and the Bespin crew. I got 2 Landos. The original one, who's not bad but missing some stuff, and the Skiff Guard. He luckily had his helmet. And this was actually the last Skiff Guard I had to get to complete my Jabba's Palace set. So he's going to go right there next to Leia, so he can pull his thing down and nod, knowing that the plan is going through. The other Lando, I actually had a Lando already, but I tell you, I don't really like this one. It looks a little too beat up. There's a real weird gap in his neck. You can't see his eyes or his teeth. Now this one's much better. He's got more personality. He just looks better. He looks more like the character. And of course he's smiling and you can see his eyes very clearly. Now it didn't come with a cape. This was, a little like $10 figure I got while I was there. But I have a cape transfer to do. So, took the cape off the non-smiling Lando, and there you go, Landonis Balthazar Calrissian with cape, smiling. He truly belongs with us among the clouds, in his proper place. The last one I got was really important to me because I've never had a Farm Boy Luke. And this one's in pretty decent condition. You know, like I said, I like beaters. There's a little bit of paint missing. And this one's pretty good. Now, this is going to destroy some collectors watching me do this because there are people who are purists. I'm not a purist. I'm here to have a collection for myself. So this is a 1994 reproduction. They use the same mold, but different kind of plastic. So this one looks a little skinnier than the original one. And it did come with the replica of the lightsaber. Of course, this beater Luke didn't come with any, so I'm going to use that. I don't plan to sell my collection. I don't plan to rip anybody off. And I do have what I call a collector's will so that my family knows not to just sell these as they're regular. I do want to be responsible with my collection, but at the same time, I want it to look good. So that's why I do that. I know that's a controversial topic, but it's my decision to make. Another thing I got was a complete Tauntaun with the open belly. I had a Tauntaun, but it's kind of yellow. Didn't have any of the things on it, so I was glad to get this one. The reins are important in this because that's usually what's missing. Now, the reins on this guy snapped a bit. So did the one under here, but it looks great the way it is. I'm not really complaining. If you know of any tips to repair that, I don't want to just use glue. That's not great for the material. But if you have any suggestions, please leave me a comment. I'd love to know what I can do. The last thing I got as far as the Kenner stuff, or the Kenner Palatoy stuff, is this boy, the speeder bike. One of my favorites. I'm not going to explode it on screen because that is just somebody's walking in my hallway. My dog's going nuts because it's just too much to clean up. But I want to point out these butt flaps that it has. These are important. They're very easy to lose. Often when you get one, they aren't there. But this is important because when it's sitting there, it's ready to go. But once it lifts up, that's when the exhaust ports go. So let's make this guy complete. Let's put the proper figure on there. No, that's not the proper figure. I like my speeder bike to have Paploo on it so he can steal it, just like in Return of the Jedi. Somebody is really antagonizing my dog in the hallway right now. They're not really, they're just walking, and he's like, that's my place. Usually he's pretty quiet during these videos. In fact, usually he's pretty quiet, period. All right, so I did get some other things that were not Kenner toys. So one of them is, or two of them are the Applause Shadows of the Empire standees. These things are about 10 inches to a foot. No articulation except for one. Dash Rendar, Prince Shizor, laughing at us, but he's got his cool like little hair there to make him look cool. I love Shadows of the Empire. I collected all the Kenner figures. These are going to go in my library next to my Shadows of the Empire comics. One more thing that I got while I was there, and it actually relates to today, is Star Wars Vision figures by Bandai. Ame and Kare, the twins, Sith twins from one of the Star Wars Visions. The reason I say this is important to today is because Visions 2 came out. In fact, the next thing I'm going to do after I finish this video is go watch that because I'm really excited. One of the coolest things I like about that is her arms pop up, so she has the 6 lightsabers. And basically, Kare came with just some extra hands, even though they cost the same, not as much. In fact, Bandai's never afraid to switch it up. I will eventually take these guys out of the package. I just haven't had much time yet. Now, I didn't do any books, like I said, but I did get some comic books while I was there. The big one being the exclusive Mike Mignola Dark Horse Star Wars Hyperspace Stories comic book. Mike Mignola, you may know as the creator of Hellboy. That was the big one for this year. And of course, who doesn't love Jackson? There's an annual that IDW did where Stan Sakai, the creator of Usagi Yojimbo, actually did a cover with Jackson, which is great because Usagi Yojimbo is also a warrior rabbit. They happen to have the 2016 European Star Wars cover. I figured I'd pick that up while I was there. It was relatively inexpensive. But the author I wanted to meet the most, which I got to meet, was Kavan Scott, who does a lot of the High Republic comic books and books. The High Republic comic book is my favorite. So while I was there, I got him to sign issue number 1, and that is such a great cover. Issue number 6, just because I love Avar Kriss on top of that Rancor. I mean, how cool is that? And then, of course, the newer series, #1 of High Republic with Vildar Mac and Maddie. Another thing I got there, and this was Forbidden Planets. That's where they did all the signings and all the books and comics. They had this coloring book there, which I'm really impressed with. First off, it cost me like maybe $15. It's not too expensive. But one of the reasons I like it so much is it features covers of the comic books, the Marvel series specifically. There's another one. I'm almost like, I don't even want to color in this because I'm so excited about it. I have not seen any modern Dark Horse or Marvel second series, Black Thorn Comics or IDW, but although this was technically Dark Horse, there's the Star Wars manga. How cool is that they added that in there? That would be really fun. You'd need some nice manga markers for that. Now, the last thing I got there, I was so excited about. I never thought I would see this in real life. I collect comic books, as you know. They're all around me, and Ewoks is one of my favorite. In fact, the Ewoks #1 is my favorite, the first comic book I ever read. I found the hardcover Star Wars Ewoks Annual. I love it. The colors are all wrong on these guys. They're just like the wrong shade. But it is really cool. It is lots of issues of the comic book. But one of the things that it has over the comics that I wanted it for is all the prose. All right, so I've never had a video where my dog barked through the whole thing before, so he's going to get some cuddles here after a bit. So when I came home, there were a couple of book things waiting for me. While I was at Celebration, the newest High Republic adult novel came out, Cataclysm. Lydia Kang was there. She seemed really cool. I didn't get to meet her, but I was very excited to read this. I'm about over halfway through it, and I'm really, really enjoying it. At the same time, Quest for Planet X, the kids book, came out while I was there. That was I haven't not got to read this yet. I'm still reading this one, and another High Republic's come out so far. But I do like these. I think they're fun. Now, when I got home as well, I had Cal Kestis waiting for me from the Jedi Survivor series. I love the look of this figure. He doesn't really attach to the back. I put some poster putty to help stick him there to give him the look that he has when he's looking over Cal's shoulder on their missions. This is the original figure. Not the original, it's actually the second one, but the same mold from the first game. And you can see that he looks really young, longer hair, and here he's a bit more mature, a little bit more clean cut, a little bit more refined. I love this character, and I've been loving that game. I'm about 13 hours into it, and I really, really enjoy it. Well, that's everything I got while there, and waiting for me when I got back. It's going to be a while before I go to another celebration because I don't think I'm going to be getting to Japan in 2025. But hopefully it comes back. Hey, DC is a nice place to visit. I think maybe they should have a Star Wars convention there. Probably not. Anyways, my name is John Edward Lee. This has been an episode of Universe Expanding Books and Toys on May the 4th, Star Wars Day. Please subscribe, like, comment, share. Please comment. I'd love to keep an open dialogue on these things. But in the meantime, I hope you guys enjoy the rest of the holiday. Remember that the 4th will be with you always.